I just realized that it's really important to make sure you've got your stuff and an evacuation plan also.
Yep.
Like being prepared as much as possible, because it was like, oh my gosh, this might really happen. Hi everybody, welcome. I've asked Dad to come in with
It's the opposite of last time. I don't know what's going on and she's leading the conversation.
I've had thoughts, a lot of thoughts lately. Okay, so in lieu of the fires that are going around and everything, a few nights ago when we were needing to really think about evacuation and stuff, after we got the kids to bed, I got their 72-hour kits out and went through them, and they were not well put together. The fruit snacks that were in there were now like hard candy, and the food needed to be changed out, and I needed to add some clothes. So I had to go around and find pants and shirts and underclothing and socks and a sweatshirt and get those for each child and put them in their bag. And then figure out food and everything like that. So we've always, well, it was more Dad actually, wanted to make sure that we were prepared for emergencies like sleeping bags and all that camping gear and stuff. But I just realized that it's really important to make sure you've got your stuff and an evacuation plan also.
Yep.
Like being prepared as much as possible, because it was like, oh my gosh, this might really happen.
So what I do, some of the stuff I do, so one of the things we are told to have is like 6 months worth of money, right, sitting in the bank, to just have, and actually to have a bunch of cash in your house, right? Small bills, cash in your house,
yeah,
a certain amount. And then also to have 6 months worth of income in your bank. That's not only good for like times you have to get up and leave, and you might be like eating out of restaurants because you're living at somebody else's house or something, or you have to go out of town or leave the area. But it's also good if you lose your job. You have 6 months worth of income to live off of. If you are looking and you have to spend that time, you can feed your family and still pay your house payment and all your bills and stuff like that until you find another job. So it's good that way. And then we're building up to have 3 months and then 6 months worth of long-term food storage in, hey guys, it's bugging me. I got it, there we go. Long-term food storage in the, our heads were like, long-term food storage in the house. And so I'm working on getting like the Mountain House freeze-dried type meals, because those have 25 to 30 year life. They're like, their flavor guarantee, delicious guarantee to them. So they're good for like 30 years, 25 to 30 years. And the Mountain House ones, the ones we like, the ones that actually taste like real food, you don't have to so much, in what we've decided to do is freeze dried. You know, a lot of people will do the like 5 or 50 gallons of grains and all this other stuff, but the hard thing about that is you actually have to eat that. That has to be something that you're working into your diet, because you can't go from a different diet that you're eating every day and then all of a sudden switch to grains and things that you've been storing that you haven't actually been eating. Your body will like freak out. It won't adjust. You'll probably have like diarrhea and stuff. It'll cause problems. So when you store that kind of stuff, you actually have to use it in your normal diet or your body doesn't react to it. But Mountain House meals, the freeze-dried ones, you don't. It's like normal food that's just been freeze-dried into a package that lasts forever. So, and you can buy that at Costco. You can get like a box for like 40 bucks, and it's got a whole bunch, and so you can just grab one of those every once in a while and just build it up. And that is kind of your 6 month supply, because in 30 years, I mean, all the kids will be 20 years gone. So by the time it expires, we'll need very little food storage. We'll be 70 or what? Yeah, 60 something. And so it'll if you get that now, it lasts a long time. And then I always ask Anna Lee, like a constant question that I ask her. I said, of the food we do normally consume and go through, I always say, Ani, if we had to close the doors right now, could we stay in the house for 30 days, not go shopping at all?
And oftentimes it's no.
She's like, maybe like 2 weeks or something like that. But
so that's what I was doing also on Saturday was it like triggered something in me. I'm like, oh well, if it did come down to where we weren't evacuated, but we had to like hang out in our house and not go to the grocery store, how long would we be here? You know what I mean? So
there's something interesting too. It was like we have a good friend of mine that used to actually be in the neighborhood. He's moved away since then, but he gave kind of a talk and talked about what they did when he went to war. He's been deployed a few times, and they talked about what they did to the enemy and how they would starve their supplies. And I thought about all the natural things that could happen just in Payson. Utah's weird because it's got mountains on this side, a lot of mountains that way, and not much that way, and then you have to go either south or north, and your main supply chain is just a freeway that goes by. And if either of those directions or both of those freeways get cut off, your supply from pretty much everything, it's a long way around, a really difficult time to get. Anyway, he just talked about what he did, and so I thought, you know what, not much would have to happen for our supply to be cut off. So that's why I constantly always ask Annalie when she's grocery shopping and stuff, when she gets her budget, I'm like, do you need more budget for household stuff? We can talk about budgeting another time. But more budgeting for household stuff, and I always do. I ask her, I said, okay, if we had to stay in our house for the next 30 days and not go to the store if there wasn't the store. Because I know if something like that happened, like on the freeway or something, the stores would get cleaned out in like a day, right? Everybody would freak, just like we've seen in other parts of the world when there's been disasters, and the store shelves are just wiped out, right? And so you can't go to the store. Even if you wanted to and the store was there, most likely all that stuff is gone. So I constantly ask her of the stuff we consume. So if we have a 6-month supply of freeze-dried food, and then we have 30 days supply of just our normal diet, we have 7 months of stuff that we could actually just hunker down in the house. And as long as we've got water, and we do store water as well, then we could actually just live here. We'd be fine in the house. We wouldn't have to leave, and we could survive. So.
And we also took the propane tanks and got them topped off. So we've got fuel. And
so I have different fuel. Like we've done a few things. We're not gonna show you any of them, but they're. It's just I don't want to take you guys and show you everything we have. But the shelves and stuff. I have a solar generator. I have a gas generator that runs off gas. We usually have at least 10 gallons of gas that would last us quite a while with our gas generator. I also have the propane, but I also have butane, and then I have a whole bunch of the little small propane tanks to run like the little 1-heater stoves. So we could cook, and all we have to cook for those Mountain House meals is water. And I also have a whole bunch of little canisters for my backpacking stoves. And those little jet boils, they're pretty reasonable to buy. You can buy like a cheap one for like $50. If you don't buy the like really fancy ultralight ones, you can get a really cheap one. Those cook enough to feed our family in like 4 minutes. Like 2 minutes cooks 2 cups of water, and I'd cook 2 of those Mountain House packets. They're serving sizes too, but most of us eat like birds, and so
the kids don't eat a lot.
So 2 of those would probably feed the rest of us. Would feed the whole family. So those butane and the backpacking stoves and the propane and all that stuff, I think we'd be fine cooking wise. But that's kind of that gives you an idea of kind of what we've planned and what we're trying to do. And we're not perfect, right? We kind of go up and down, and we've been working our way on the 6 months of freeze-dried, but we're trying to do better. But this is a really good example. Like I said, if something actually happened to the point like the fire is pretty close still, and they updated today, and they said the Pole Canyon fire, which is one that's just north of us, these 2 fires are almost touching. Just north of us is 2% contained, and the one that's right above our house is 0% contained still. It looked a lot better today because the wind was less, but after a conference that was maybe like 3 hours ago, they told us that it was 0% contained. So stuff can happen. Stuff can happen anywhere. So it's always good to be prepared. So
it is good to be prepared.
Was that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
just try your best and be prepared for whatever you can.
Yeah, and I know that's hard to do, and I know in a lot of areas, people that live in apartments or students or things like that don't have any space to store that kind of stuff. Just do what you can.
Yeah.
Those Mountain House meals are actually really small and actually pretty easy. And if you're storing food for just a person or a couple people, try and find ways to do it. But I know it's hard in some areas. It's more challenging. So
you do it in small, like a 72-hour kit, and then work up to a week's worth or 2 weeks or whatever. Just one bite at a time. So.
Little by little.
But
it
was just like, oh man, this is real.
It became more real.
Yeah, it became more real. Like,
I've been pushing it for a long time. I really wanted to have it for a long time.
It really has been. So we've got.
We have a lot. We have quite a few things.
We've got sleeping bags and.
If she says we don't have 30 days, we could probably make it. What we have on the shelves, we could probably make last 60. I bet you. And then we could probably go to the actual food storage, like long-term stuff, and probably last another 60 right now. So we can probably stay here 3 or 4 months with what we have in the house. So, and we're working on longer. We need to get more. So anyway, so be prepared. We wanted to tell you guys kind of what our plans are. You guys can comment down below what your plans are. Tell us what you think. Yeah, it's really smart. And it seems to me that there's more and more crazy things going on around the world, more and more natural disasters and man-made disasters that we need to be prepared for. Also, people don't stay in their jobs for 30 years anymore. Stuff's crazy. People don't hold jobs for that long, and people, I don't know, there seems to be a lot more fluctuation of lifestyle and things like that. So being prepared monetarily and every other way is always smart.
It is smart.
So that's the message for today, guys. So give us, if you have any questions or anything else you want to know about kind of what we do. We're not saying ours is the best way or the right way. That's just what we've found that we've decided would work for our family. So let us know any questions, comments, concerns. Share what you guys do. But other than that,
this is Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad signing out. Bits on storage and preparedness. Yeah.
On the DVR, someone won't you make it stop? Don't make it stop. I'm losing my mind.
They didn't do the part.
I see a problem. Everything I say.